It is the Jesse Kelly Show, reminding you still get the great honor of emailing me this week, jesse@jessekellyshow.com. And of course, Jewish producer Chris is going to send me all those if he's not napping or doing whatever it is they're pretending to do while they're back in Houston. But joining me now is apparently my co-host for the night. I'm just kidding. She's just on for now. The host of the Tudor Dixon podcast. Everyone who listens to this show knows her voice because when I'm gone living the big celebrity life, Tudor will oftentimes speak for me. So Tudor, look, I've had the floor for an hour and a half. Might as well hand it over to you. Everyone's upset, they're mad, they're sad. I can't believe this is where we are. I'm not surprised this is where we are. This is always where we were going, and this is what happens when things go bad.
I think that people are not surprised. I think they're shocked, but I think that sadly I saw someone, and I can't remember who it was, wrote an article that was like, why did this have to happen? Why did this assassination attempt have to happen? And I think in America right now, we have a media that is so obsessed with calling conservatives a threat by coming out and making conservatives so unpalatable that the young generation thinks that they have to get rid of us. And that was the next step. But this is the coming together now after tragedy like that. Look at when you go into this convention center, you see something that is powerful, that is filled with love, that is filled with excitement. And I think that this is that moment where you have a vice presidential pick. People are coming back together. Democrats are a mess, you know? What do they have? They don't even have a bench.
They don't have a bench, but here's the problem, Tudor. Unity on the right's fine. You know, I'm glad we have that because you're right. I've seen more unity on the right than I've seen in a long, long time. And it is, you can feel it here. It's palatable, the unity. But as much as I hate communists, we can't have a country where half the people hate each other. And like you said, Democrats right now are a mess. They're a disaster, and that's no defense of how bad Republicans usually are. We can't have a country where every registered Democrat hates every registered Republican. It won't work that way. But that's where we are, and I hate to be cynical. I don't see that reversing. I just don't.
I agree. I think that this is a very dangerous path that we're on, and it is a 24-hour news cycle path because there's not 24 hours of news, and so you have infotainment, and the infotainment becomes hate-tainment. It's these people that are crazed about the other side, and they have to keep ratcheting it up because if they don't, then they don't get the ratings. The ratings come with the radical hot take, the radical this conspiracy and that conspiracy, and Donald Trump's never gonna, if Donald Trump gets elected, the country will never be the same. I mean, the founding fathers set this up so that can't happen. They don't believe in our system of government, and they're saying that we're gonna ruin it. They don't believe in it because it actually cannot happen. He has 4 years if he gets elected, which he will. He has 4 years, and they're telling people that in 4 years he's going to fundamentally change how the country runs. It's impossible. It's set up so it actually can't happen. So at what point do the American people hold the media accountable? And how do you get to those people that allow the MSNBCs? I mean, they didn't even have Morning Joe on today because they knew they were going to say something that was so inappropriate. After an assassination attempt, they couldn't have a show on. What does that mean to you?
Well, these people, none of them are sorry. Not a single one of them are sorry. Not Morning Joe, not Corinne Diversity Hire, not Joe Biden. None of these people are sorry about any of the things they've said. They're sorry that now they look bad. They're sorry because those things they said resulted in something terrible. But if they don't have a change of heart, then yeah, it's fine. Look, we're all unified right here. We're at the Republican National Convention. Everyone listening to the sound, we're all unified, right? We could all get together at Red Lobster tonight, and maybe we should. But at the end, you know, in 2 days, 3 days from now, it's going to be right back to Nazi, Hitler, Nazi, threat to democracy. I don't see how the band gets back together again. Am I wrong?
No, but I can't accept that that's where we are. And so I believe that even though that won't happen with the mainstream media, I think you're right. I mean, the Jen Psaki's of the world left the White House to become a famous news person and give her hot take every single day, right? She's not going to just give that up. Morning Joe, literally, they're not just not sorry. By not going on the air today, they admitted that they couldn't even be nice about it. I mean, they're not even going to try. They're not going to say we've done such a damage. And I think that as somebody who ran for office, I can tell you the experience as a conservative running for office is not that you're even given a chance by the media. They decide what you're going to be, the horrible threat that you will become, and they tell the people this is how they define you before you get a chance to talk. That has got to stop. It has got to stop. And I think that it's a fight now for conservatives to come out and say, we're going to have voices like you out there talking. And it is so important that you continue talking and that we continue to bring voices into all the different states. And Michigan is one of them. We don't have a lot of conservative voices. Like we have I don't know, maybe one. It's a problem.
What's wrong with the Michigan GOP? Every time I start digging into Michigan, 'cause it's such an important swing state, I get people from Michigan, activists from Michigan like you, who said, not that you have said this, the GOP is a disaster there. It's in disarray there, and I don't understand how that happens. Did you see that? Because this is an important state. Look, everyone is assuming Trump's going to win this whole thing. We still have to win Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, and that's a tough road to hoe.
I've talked to a lot of governors across the country who say that they've had the same things happen in their state. And so Michigan, I would say, is a similar situation where we've had our GOP that was led by some of the biggest donors in the state, and over time it becomes kind of like the donors are managing it, and then the grassroots kind of rise up. And now we just went through one of those where the grassroots took it back from the donors. The donors fought and I mean, the new chairman also has grassroots support, but he comes from that old regime of Republicans. It was what I would think the grassroots would say. And so there's still some fighting because they threw out the old chair. Now we have a new one. But ultimately, it doesn't matter who's in charge. It's the fact that because nobody's been in charge long enough to actually put a ground game into place, we don't have the infrastructure to win. That, at the end of the day, who cares if you have somebody, this person or that person running the party? If you have no infrastructure, you can't win. And so what the party now has to do is bring it back from a situation of having no infrastructure on the ground. And so when I ran, we had no ground game, nothing. In a state where they went from Colorado to Michigan and they said, we're going to use the Colorado model in Michigan. And the Democrats have a very strong ground game there, very strong.
What do you order at Red Lobster when you go?
I always change up what I order, but I like, yeah.
Oh, you're one of those people?
But they have special things.
Well, they do. It is a special place.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, and then they have some, like when it's Lobster Fest, I like those little tails that are curved.
Those are called lobster tails.
But they're smaller ones, yeah.
Yeah.
But they still are, yes.
They do.
Exactly.
They do. Anyway, so that's a wonderful place. I'm glad we can share that together.
It is, and I was afraid we were going to lose it. This sounds so dumb.
Me too. I've been in a full-blown panic for a couple weeks since that bankruptcy was announced.
Are you making fun of me right now?
No,
I can't tell.
It's my favorite place in the world. Everyone knows it.
Because the biscuits are delicious.
They are amazing.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Yes, I actually just took Sarah and Kyle there a couple weeks ago because they'd never been. Well, I think Kyle hadn't been in years. Sarah had never been there, and I forced them to go because I said, "What if we don't have many restaurants in West Michigan?" I'm like, "We cannot lose this, and you have to experience before it shuts down."
You know what? I'm happy for them. That's as close as you can get to heaven on this earth. So.
They were happy too. Very happy.
I'm sure they were.
It was a good day.
Tudor Dixon of the Tudor Dixon podcast. Thank you, Tudor. I appreciate you.